Yo, what's up, my DGens? What is going on? That sounded really, really lame. Really lame. What's up, guys? I need a new intro. Like, I need a new catchphrase or something. So, looking over at JASMY, guys. As I said, we continue to reject off the 30-day SMA. Looks like we're going to try maybe tonight or tomorrow. We'll make another run at it. The last two times we got rejected off it really hard. We hit it twice in a row. This time we hit it twice in a row. We did not reject off anywhere near as hard as I thought we might have. Enough that we can make another run at it tomorrow, depending on what Bitcoin does. Let's look at the weekly. If we look at JASMY on the weekly, not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Actually, we have a green week right now, a significantly green week that we're looking at. So, yeah, very nice. Very good, very good. We got to break above this resistance level though. 1 cent 955. We got to get above there on the weekly. We got to close above there on the weekly time frame. Let's get over to BTC. Again, same thing, guys. Rejecting off resistance right here at 72,076, $72,761. We are rejecting there. We'll probably make another run at it tomorrow, but who knows, guys? Listen, who knows? Maybe we'll come down and retest this resistance level here at 70,000 as support first, and then go up. But I don't know if that'll be too likely, because this didn't really act like a very major level of resistance. I mean, we hit it once, rejected off, and then broke through the next day. So it's not like it's a very strong level. So I don't know if we'll really test that as support. We might just continue our way upwards. I mean, look how close we are, guys, to the all-time high. Look how close we are. Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. We're going to stay on top of it. That's what she said. Let's go have a look at the bubbles. What is going on around the crypto verse, guys? I did some DCAing today. If you're over on the Patreon or you're a member of the channel, you know exactly what I bought today. Swift and KASPA are looking okay. JASMY down 0.93%. Just kind of treading sideways, guys. Just kind of treading sideways. Trios and Taraxa pumping again today. LCX taking another hit, eh? Another hit for LCX. Over this last month, yeah, it's down significantly over the last month. But there's some good DC opportunities, guys. Turbo under a penny is a fantastic opportunity, in my opinion. You got all kinds of stuff. Forta, SHIB, Beam, Ondo, HBAR, Doge, FET, Aerodrome, STX. Some good opportunities in abundance. Let's check out one of my sleeper picks, guys. Here's one of my sleeper picks. MainNets. Nets is the ticker. Deflationary tokenomics, guys. Nets has been quietly making moves, and I've been monitoring it. I haven't talked about it, but I have been monitoring it. They say Nets will literally burn itself to save you because, yes, we love you that much. With every transaction, 10% of Nets is strategically burned to reduce supply, leaving fewer coins in circulation and increasing the value of those that remain. So MainNets has introduced a burn mechanism on every transaction. 10% of tokens will be burned. Fewer tokens equals higher demand. So you might say we're a limited edition coin. Very nice, very nice. I hold Nets, guys. It's a sleeper pick for me. I think it's going to do okay. I think it's going to shock some people, right? It's going to shock some people. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. What else do we got? MicroStrategy plans to raise $42 billion to buy more Bitcoin. Unbelievable. MicroStrategy will be the world's first $1 trillion company. I have no doubt about that. If they keep doing what they're doing, unless someone comes along. The thing is, someone come along like Apple or Microsoft or something. We know that Microsoft's voting on it right now, but can they actually catch MicroStrategy at this point? Probably not, right? All right, check this out. I hate posts that start with the word boom, but I digress. In a recent Ripple SEC case document filing, the court has proposed that the parties find an alternative resolution before the 4th of November, just in time before the election. Coincidence? Will they resolve before the election, maybe over a beer on Saturday night? My answer is no. The SEC and Ripple will not come to any kind of agreement. They seldom do, and that's fine. That's fine. We'll just play it out. It's all good in the hood. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string, right? All right, what do we got? Simply Bitcoin. Bears are scrambling as we enter a new all-time high. Check this out.
They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but Bitcoin is on absolute fire right now. Bears are panicking, running for the exits, but there's no escaping what's coming. It's Bitcoin all-time high season, and if you think things are bullish now, Bitcoin hasn't even begun to melt faces yet, and something is just days away. And the last time that something happened, Bitcoin gained 3,000% in a year. That was without spot ETFs, MicroStrategy, and nation states. Buckle up, because if history rhymes, we could be looking at $2 million Bitcoin in 2025. I'm Rustin, head of news at Simply Bitcoin. Go ahead and pour another one out for the Bears. We have massive news to get to. Send it!
Yeah, we're not going to see a $2 million Bitcoin in 2025. However, I am bullish on everything else that he said. So absolutely. Absolutely. What else do we got? All right, Michael Saylor. Bit of a longer conversation, guys, but let's listen in.
The ETFs got approved. And people thought, oh, well, when the ETFs are approved, it may not be good for you because you're trading at a premium. But in fact, the opposite was true, because we have a lot of Bitcoin and we're an operating company. So what you can do, or what MicroStrategy can do that an ETF can't do, is you can borrow against our stock. It's marginable. We can leverage the stock. You can option the stock. We have options, puts and calls. You can short via puts. You can go long via calls. And you can buy our debt or trade it, and we can sell the debt. So all the other spot ETFs are not marginable. They have no options, and they can't issue equity capital by a shelf registration. They really can't trade at a premium. They get basically arbitrage back to net asset value, and they can't issue convertible debt. Now, why would you want to issue convertible debt? Well, because if you're a convertible arbitrager, you want to find a company with three things. You want volatility, massive volatility. You want liquidity. You want to be able to trade in the spot market in order to hedge out your exposure. And you want durability or transparency. You want to know that the company as a going concern is going to continue. So if you think about companies like GameStop, they were very volatile and liquid, but that trade doesn't go on for years and years. And with our company, we're basically holding a bunch of Bitcoin. Everybody knows we stand for Bitcoin. Everybody knows we're going to buy more Bitcoin. Everybody knows we're not going to sell the Bitcoin. So we have credibility, and we're durable. The S&P index has a volatility of about 12. Gold is 10. Real estate, 18. Apple, 20, 22. Tesla, 45. Bitcoin, 75. MicroStrategy is levered Bitcoin with a passionate shareholder base, 120 to 140, 150 something, but more than 100. Okay, so if you know the Black-Scholes equation, if you plug volatility in the Black-Scholes equation, it makes the option more valuable. Nobody wants to buy an option that has low volatility. So we stumbled on a very interesting opportunity, because we're an operating company that can issue convertible debt, and we were able to appeal to a variety of investment classes. For example, one class of investors is public company investors. They want Bitcoin exposure. They can't buy Bitcoin. They can't buy the Bitcoin ETF. They can buy a company that does something with Bitcoin. It's like I can buy a gold miner, but I can't buy the gold and I can't buy the gold ETF.
Yes.
So they have billions of dollars of capital and they have to invest in an operating company. And we became the most notable, premier, and the most transparent company. You know, with MicroStrategy, we're going to buy Bitcoin, keep it, and try to accrete more Bitcoin per share. There's another class of investors, the Bitcoin maximalists. They love Bitcoin, but they have money in their 401k, and they can't buy Bitcoin with their 401k, but they can buy a stock like MicroStrategy. Now, why would they like us? Well, would you like to be able to borrow money for 7 years for no interest?
Exactly.
And buy
It's like
Bitcoin?
free money.
You would like to, but you can't.
Yes.
But we can. So if you like that prospect, they would buy our stock because they feel like they're along for the ride, right? They're getting advantage of our ability to get cheap capital to buy Bitcoin. Another reason is, would you like to borrow against Bitcoin from your bank? Well, you can't because the bank doesn't take the Bitcoin as collateral, but MicroStrategy stock is marginable. So you could pledge it as collateral and borrow it at SOFR plus 50 or 100 basis points. So that way you get to keep your Bitcoin and take a pretty cheap margin loan against it. So some people like that. A third class of investors want volatility. There's something called MSTY. It's like an ETF that sells MicroStrategy volatility.
Okay.
It generates 100% plus dividend yield. Okay, so if you just sell the calls, you could own the Bitcoin and sell covered calls out of the money or in the money, and then you generate some yield. So some people like that.
Is it issued by you or by someone else?
No, it's somebody else.
Somebody else. Okay.
Other people. But the reason that they do it against us is because we have Bitcoin and we have options. There are billions. There's like $30-40 billion of open interest in the MicroStrategy option market. Well, there are no options on the spot ETFs, you see. And you can't borrow against them. They're not marginable. So we had this company that was optionable, marginable. It was high volatility Bitcoin equity, but it's also highly levered Bitcoin equity. So Bitcoin would go up and we would go up more. And so if you like Bitcoin, then if you like the idea of taking all your money and buying Bitcoin, you would like the idea of borrowing a lot of money for free.
See, we're having this conversation over on the Patreon right now where we're discussing whether we should be purchasing spot Bitcoin ETFs through the bear market or continue self-custody, right? And we're weighing the pros and cons of that. So now personally, I don't really care about leveraging against my spot Bitcoin ETFs because I have no interest in doing that, right? But it is a very interesting conversation that we are having. So definitely jump over and join.
And buying even more Bitcoin, right? So a lot of those people decided to buy in as equity holders. Then you get the haters, right? People that don't like Bitcoin. Well, if you want to short Bitcoin, then you could short our stock.
Yes, exactly.
But what if you wanted to short the stock with options and puts? Well, there aren't puts on the spot product, but there are puts on MicroStrategy. So you could go and you could buy, and there are billions of dollars of short options traded on our company. So there's those people, they just hate Bitcoin. Then there's people that are they're not sure, they hate our business. So like, we're going to short you and buy Bitcoin.
Okay, yes, exactly.
Right? And so you have those arbitragers. And then there are people, they don't even know what Bitcoin is. All they know is they can generate 100% yield.
It's going up. Yeah.
And then there's people that are the super option traders and they think, well, the options 6 months out are mispriced versus the options 3 months out. So I'm going to sell the options 6 months out and buy the options 3 months out. And I'm going to take advantage of that. And then you have the fixed income investors. They can only buy bonds, so they could buy our bond. And then you have the convertible arbitragers. They need a convertible bond, and they're going to actually short the equity, buy the bond, capture the yield. And then you have people, what if you wanted to buy Bitcoin at the all-time high, but you don't want to have the downside? What if you want 80% of the upside, 20% of the downside? Well, if we sell a bond and it's a $500 million bond, but we've got $5 billion of unpledged Bitcoin, you have this collateral, like 10-to-1 collateral, and you could say, well, Bitcoin would have to trade down by 90% before I'm in trouble. So if you're risk adverse and you want Bitcoin upside, but you're afraid to take 1-for-1 downside, you would buy the bond. And of course, you can construct any type of instrument you want by trading the bonds, the equity, and the options, and you construct whatever you want. So what happened then is MicroStrategy stock started trading a lot, billions and billions of dollars a week, and then billions of dollars a day. And then the options started trading. And so then we went back to the market and we did a bond issue, and I guess it was going to be about 500 million, but it got upsized and became 800 million. And we did that at 62 basis points at a big premium. So we basically sell the bond for 62 basis points, and then we buy the Bitcoin and we capture the yield difference, or we capture the premium. But then, of course, we basically borrowed $800 million for 6 years to buy Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up 24% a year, then you could double your money twice. So maybe you actually make $2.4 billion on the back end, some hundreds of millions of dollars on the front end, and you do it while you're paying 0.5% or 62 basis points interest. So we did that. People liked that. The stock traded up. Bitcoin traded up. We announced we closed that deal on Monday, and we thought, why don't we just do it again? So we went back and we did it again on Thursday. And we did 600 million on Thursday, and we did 1.4 billion total in that 2 weeks. And why can we do that? Because it's very hard to find a company with 100 vol with billions of dollars of liquidity where you understand the business model. And we built a lot of trust and credibility with our investors because they all know what we're going to do, right?
Yes, exactly.
I'm very famous for you do not sell your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We're going to buy more Bitcoin. We'll keep buying Bitcoin. If we were not transparent, if I was not predictable, then you don't know what we're going to do for the next 5 years. So you're not going to want to take a 5-year bet or even a 1-year bet. If you hate Bitcoin, you want me to love Bitcoin. Because because the last thing you want to do is short $100 million of our security and have me say over the weekend, I reversed the trade.
Even if I hate you, I want you to be like trustful that you're going to be buying, like as you say. Yeah.
But the opposite is also true, which is I don't mind if you hate Bitcoin. If you short our stock, that just means you're buying it in reverse. Like you're going to short it now, but eventually you'll buy it later when I need you to buy it. And so what we did is we created an operating company, and we realized at some point now we're a Bitcoin development company, like a real estate development company. It's like if you took a company public and you sold billions of dollars of securities to buy those buildings. The trick is, can you get the cheapest financing? A public company has cheaper financing than a private company because it's more trustworthy and transparent, right?
Yes.
You have to make thousands of pages of disclosures. You're bound by a lot more restrictions. So a public company in America is probably the most trustworthy of a corporate vehicle for issuing security and raising debt. So you would have an advantage if you were a public company and you were doing real estate development. But remember what I told you about volatility.
Yep.
The volatility of real estate's 20. Or 15. You can't sell 100 vol equity and invest in 20 vol assets because at some point the volatility in your equity goes to 20. You see?
Exactly.
What we were doing is selling the 100 vol plus equity, and then we're buying a 75 vol asset, levering it up to make it back into a 100 vol asset. So if you're actually creating a volatile balance sheet that will drive a volatile stock, that creates the options market, and that creates the opportunity to raise money for less than 1% interest unsecured. Now, that is unique to Bitcoin. Maybe it's the first time in the history of Wall Street, you have a property asset or a commodity asset that is appreciating, because it's hard cap 21 million, right? It's a scarcity.
Yes, exactly.
So it's appreciating and it's volatile. And most people in corporate finance are taught to avoid volatility. They're taught that volatility is a bad thing. So they get rid of all their capital. And if they invest money, if you had $1 billion on your balance sheet, you wouldn't buy something volatile. You would buy treasury bills. But treasury bills are volatility 5. Like they're the least volatile thing you can possibly buy. Okay. So how do you arbitrage that? And so you think about a big company. A big company, it's run to have visibility for the next 3 years. I give you guidance for the next 3 years. I want to know what I'm going to make a year from now. I tell everybody, and then I have no capital on the balance sheet that's volatile. So there's nothing that's going to move. And I consider that success. But if I know what's going to happen for the next 12 months, why would I trade the stock every day? I can just make a decision once a year. So the result is MicroStrategy stock trades more than all these big, large cap companies. Right? We end up, because, you know, McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Nike and Walmart and Pfizer, they're all very predictable.
Yeah.
And predictable is good for people that are afraid of the future. But predictable is awful for the options market and it's awful for traders. So in this particular case, what we've done, it represents a lot of different paradigm shifts. First of all, it's based on Bitcoin, which is a paradigm shift. It's a digital commodity instead of a physical commodity. That's a big idea. $1 billion of digital energy instead of $1 billion of oil. The second big idea is Bitcoin does one better. It turns the commodity into a scarcity. It's the only commodity in the world that's got a cap of 21 million. Every other commodity like soybeans or oil or natural gas or gold is infinitely producible. So there's a lot of price supply elasticity.
Exactly.
That's why it doesn't make sense to buy billions of dollars of oil and hold it for 10 years. That's why we don't use oil as a treasury reserve asset, because there's too much of it. So Bitcoin is a scarcity. That's the second revolution. The third revolution is using Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset instead of sovereign debt, instead of treasury bills. Well, treasury bills have an effective after-tax yield of 3%. The cost of capital of a company is probably 12% if you basically take the monetary inflation rate and add in 4% for risk premium. So if your cost of capital is 12% and you're investing at 3%, you're losing 9% of your capital every year. Well, Bitcoin's been appreciating at 20 to 50%. So we're not doing a third or a quarter of the cost capital. We're doing double to triple to quadruple. So if you have a treasury asset which beats the cost of capital, then it's not dilutive to carry the money. It's accretive. Right? The conventional wisdom is when you sell stock, you dilute the shareholders. But in our case, the more stock we issue or the more money we raise, the more we accrete. And so hundreds of thousands of companies have assets on their balance sheet which are dilutive. And Bitcoin is the first major asset which is accretive. So we turn the entire treasury strategy upside down by actually accreting assets. Today we have $15 billion of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And the operating company generates $75 million a year in cash flow. And the operating revenues are 500 million. So we made the balance sheet the primary part of the company instead of the P&L. Everybody else wants the balance sheet to go to zero or negative, and they want the P&L to be the primary part of the company.
So somebody had asked me yesterday how MicroStrategy was doing what they were doing. So that is why we watched that, guys, so that you could be aware of how they were doing what they were doing and why other companies are going to try to copy them. What else do we got? Key potential benefits of tokenizing US Treasuries. So the US Treasury shares a report on digital assets and the Treasury market. Improvements in clearing and settlements. Tokenized Treasuries allow more streamlined atomic settlements where all parts of transactions involving Treasuries settled simultaneously across all parties, reducing the risk of settlement failure. Improved collateral management. Smart contracts programmed directly into the tokenized treasury allow for more efficient collateral management, including pre-programmed collateral transfers once preset conditions are met. improved transparency and accountability. Immutable ledgers could allow for greater transparency in treasury market operations, reducing opacy and providing regulators, issuers, and investors with real-time insight into the activities. Composability and innovation. The ability to bundle different tokenized assets could lead to the creation of new highly customizable financial products and services based on US Treasury securities, such as derivatives and structured products. Increased inclusion and demand. Tokenization can make treasuries more accessible to a wider range of investors, including smaller retail investors through fractionalization and those in emerging markets. Increased liquidity. Tokenization could potentially create new investment and trading strategies through seamless integrations and programmable logic. Tokenized treasuries may trade 24/7 on blockchain networks, though the impact of this could work in two ways. So guys, the point is, we're now seeing the US Treasury adopting tokenization of assets, digital assets in general, guys. Very, very bullish stuff. We continue to see mass adoption, and I continue to point it out. Now, this guy brings up a good point. Chris Larson is telling you now what XRP community has been telling you for over the past years. But why is Chris Larson going more public now all of a sudden? I have to agree with that. Chris Larson has always been very quiet as opposed to Brad Garlinghouse. Most people don't even know what he looks like, to be honest with you. So why is he suddenly so vocal and out there?
An established currency. And it was actually declared formally a currency by the Treasury Department, FinCEN, in a settlement back in 2015, which to us, that was crystal clear. This is a currency. And as a currency, it's exempt from regulation under the SEC. That should be as a commodity, a currency, and under the CFTC. So certainly to me, that seemed crystal clear. But, I think, again, these are new things, even though they've been around for a while. And I know the regulators are well-intentioned. But it's kind of this fight on, hey, who owns the regulation of this industry? And that's fine. But, what they should be doing is making clear new rules. These are new technologies. And I think a bit of the problem is, trying to fit something like blockchain and interoperability protocols and cryptocurrencies, trying to fit that into rules that were established, 7 decades ago.
So we don't want, guys, it's not in our best interest to have crypto, whether it's XRP, Bitcoin, or anything else, labeled as a currency. It doesn't help us, because as long as we call it a currency, the governments are going to feel threatened by that, right? But if we're a commodity, that's a different story, right? That's what we need to focus on when it comes to what digital assets actually are. They're commodities, right? What do we got? Fraud in the banking system is becoming a huge problem, says Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Someone needs to tell Elizabeth Warren that, because apparently she is convinced that it's crypto. Michael Vanderpop, the inflows in the Bitcoin ETF are going through the roof. Insane. $900 million in inflows, pushing Bitcoin towards its new all-time high. I think there's more upside coming in the coming period with a constant flow of interest. I would agree. Lots more to come, guys. A little bit of turbo news for you guys. Turbo holders have now reached 41,284. Community continues to grow and thrive. A little bit of announcement from Trump here. Trump says Bitcoin is money and should not be taxed. I would agree that it shouldn't be taxed. And I get the hiccups. Wonderful. All right, what do we got? Bloomberg analyst says spot Bitcoin ETFs have had extreme inflows in the last 13 days.
You look at the inflows that you've seen, and is there anything unusual about the way you've seen these flows and the price movements along with them? I mean, it's a very significant amount since they've started.
Yeah, I mean, these things they took in tons of money. Like they launched in early January. They took in tons of money in March and April. Obviously, they took in a ton of money right when they launched. But the last 13 days have been kind of extreme. I mean, 12 of the last 13 days have been inflows, and the total inflows are just shy of $5 billion. So we're at like $4.7, $4.8 billion that have come in just over the last 13 trading days. So I think some of this is momentum chasing. Obviously, as price runs up, some of this has relation to do with the Trump odds of victory. People are, I think that a Trump victory would be good for Bitcoin. I don't know exactly what's causing it, but there's a lot of demand coming into these ETFs for sure.
So how does this compare with what else you're seeing in the crypto world? Because the standout we've seen between Bitcoin and Ethereum has been pretty significant here. Is it because Bitcoin alone is part of the Trump trade?
Honestly, no, it's definitely not that. So it can't just be Trump, because in my mind, Ethereum might actually benefit more potentially from Trump victory. You can make that argument, right? But Ethereum ETFs as a whole just are not seeing the same level of interest. I mean, you talked about 23 billion since those things launched in January. Ethereum ETFs launched in July, and technically they have a net outflow of $500 million. So the demand is just not there on the Ethereum side of things. There's a lot. I could sit here and talk for this entire segment about why I think that is, but some of it just has to do with Ethereum being somewhat more complex. People understand Bitcoin a lot easier, right? It's just digital gold, digital store of value. It's a bet against currency debasement, all of these different things. And then you look at Ethereum, and is it, a tokenization platform, a digital app platform? Who knows? There's a whole bunch of ways you could describe it. And it's just, I think investors just aren't ready and fully equipped to understand what's going on there. And Bitcoin is one of one as far as most people are concerned.
So James, are these flows sustainable?
That's a good question. So what makes a good ETF category and shows strong growth? We tend to see times like this, spikes of inflows over weeks, days, maybe even months. And then there are going to be periods of outflows. But over the long term, what you're looking for a successful ETF category is that trend line is going up and to the right. And there are going to be dips where things go down meaningfully. But if it's going up and to the right, that'll be successful. I think that is where Bitcoin ETFs are heading. I mean, if you look at gold ETFs, they've had a very successful year. Obviously, gold has done well. They have 130 billion in assets. These Bitcoin ETFs are already at 72 billion in assets. So there's definitely more room to run. I mean, when you talk to most people in our world, right? If you talk to most people in the TradFi world, Shonali, they're very skeptical of cryptocurrencies. A lot of people really still do not take Bitcoin seriously. I mean, heck, most of our colleagues and coworkers don't take this space seriously. So there's still plenty of space for this to run if that many people just think of this kind of as a joke in a way.
Funny story, guys. I got asked by a friend of mine at work yesterday because he has some money that he wants to invest. He has no idea about investing and stuff like that. So yeah, I told him, I was like, man, if you don't know anything about crypto, you don't know anything about Bitcoin, what I would say is either look into spot Bitcoin ETFs or just create an account on a simple to operate exchange and just accumulate Bitcoin is what I told him, right? Just over time, DCA, because he's talking 10 to 20 years as an investment strategy here, right? He's not talking about buy in at the bottom of the bear market, sell at the top. He's just going to continue to accumulate for the next 10 to 15 years. And I told him, I said, you will retire if you do that in 10 to 15 years, 100%. You'll retire before that, but absolutely, man. People are starting to ask about it. So there is some interest starting to come in to crypto from retail. Coinbase expects a 20% of global GDP to run through crypto.
All of these building blocks are coming together where you can really start to see consumer utility happening in crypto. And just to give you an analogy of how I think about it, sort of really how the internet started, right? If you go back to the year 2000, only about half of 1% of global GDP was happening through e-commerce. And today it's about 20% of global GDP running through e-commerce. And so I think crypto is going to follow a similar trend. We've done our own internal estimates of this, and it's a tough thing to estimate, but by our best guess is about 0.5% of global GDP is occurring on crypto rails. We really want to get that to be 20% of global GDP running on crypto rails. We think that they're faster, they're cheaper, they're more global, they're more fair, they're more free. It's just, payments are going to flow to the path of least resistance, kind of like water. And these are the best payment rails in the world. Many other benefits, people want this globally, as a refuge from inflation, economic freedom, good financial infrastructure. It just creates prosperity around the world. And so I think we now have that foundation in place to see global GDP run more and more on crypto rails over the coming years. All of these building.
Interesting. That would be interesting. And I can see his point. What do we got? Little bid man. Let's check in on a little bit of a JASMY update here. So referring to the potential drop of the super wallet, guys, JASMY super wallet, he says, looks like it could be any day now. Bitcoin just opened selling of JASMY for its holders. So that could indicate that JASMY will be listed on more Japanese exchanges soon, meaning they are ready to offer services starting in Japan, which has always been the goal for JASMY. Big things. Is the JASMY super wallet around the corner, guys? Oh, baby. Oh, baby, baby. That would be something. What do we got here? Check this out. U.S. government is moving additional funds seized by Alameda Research. So the U.S. government is moving some of the holdings seized from Alameda Research, swapping tokens for the more liquid Ethereum. As reported by Arkham Intelligence, the ANT tokens were sold in 2 transactions for $550K and $518K in Ethereum. The transfers of ANT tokens are the first activity on the wallet for the past 2 years. Just before the transaction, the U.S. government wallets received a small transfer from a high-balanced wallet, which is unrelated to the ANT liquidations. Additionally, the U.S. government wallet added another small Ethereum inflow from the Coinbase hot wallet. The transactions interacted with the Aragon DAO redemption wallet, which converts the funds to Ethereum. The DAO is phasing out its ANT tokens after it's abandoned the idea of a fully community-owned organization. One of the fears was that the Aragon DAO would end up with Sybil attack or voting takeover attempts from hidden whales. The U.S. government made use of the loophole to turn ANT tokens into more liquid and easily tradable Ethereum. The Aragon DAO contract is still open and redeeming both retail and large-scale professional investors. Aragon DAO is considered a failed project, which has also locked its X account. The move by Alameda is a way to salvage value, as Aragon DAO is in the process of token dissolution. The last swap and redemption will be possible before November 2nd. The swaps are only performed at a fixed rate despite the chaotic market price for residual ANT trading. Aragon is not dissolved completely, but will gather any remaining funds after November 3rd and potentially focus on new developments. The liquidation comes just days after the U.S. government seemingly moved funds from the Bitfinex vault, which turned out to be miscellaneous activity. Malicious miscellaneous. It was miscellaneous activity, malicious activity. Later, the hacker returned nearly all the funds, close to 20 million. Alameda still shows activity in some of its wallets. The most recent transfers reorganized the wallets, which now contain more than 980K in Ethereum and various other tokens. The wallet is relatively small compared to overall distribution of FTX expected to compensate investors with 12 billion and distribute more than 16 billion, including fees and expenses. While the recent distribution is small, it may signal a final repayment is approaching, or there are other shifts in preparation for reimbursing investors. Alameda has been exempted from the auto liquidation protocols of FTX and has retained some of its tokens. While most of the addresses are already emptied and contain dust amounts of assets, some are just holding valuable tokens. Some are still holding valuable tokens. Right, one of the wallets holds more than 500K in AMPL tokens. Smaller AMPL stores also existed on other known Alameda addresses. Some of the known wallets of Alameda Research continue to show trading activity as soon as 2 months ago. I think they meant as recently as 2 months ago. Alameda traded FTM tokens in a series of DEX transactions. In addition to Remnant, Ant, AMPL, and Phantom, Alameda is also liquidating its world token holdings. In the past day, Alameda sold another chunk of WLD allocation, sending 143.77K to Binance. Due to the price appreciation of world token, Alameda still remains more than 46 million in value. One of the known wallets of the hedge fund now contains close to 200 million after the latest market expansion. Alameda has now sold world WLD for months. With the average price of $1.71, WLD is trading near its weekly lows at $1.99 after the latest transfer to Binance. Additionally, the wallet received residual TEL tokens from KuCoin, as well as a dust amount of meme tokens from unknown addresses. There are also rumors that Alameda and FTX hold up to 10% of the Solana supply. For now, no significant Solana wallets have been discovered, and most of the SOL was liquidated years ago. In the past few days, the FTX Liquidator wallet also received amounts consisting of constant inflows of residual tokens. The Liquidator wallet holds 4.18 million in various assets, which would also have to convert to fiat for payment. They can just send those over to my wallet if they want. I'll take care of that for them. I got you. All right, and finally, let's check in on Coach JV. He has important stuff to talk about, guys. I like listening to him once in a while. A good dude. Yeah, check it out.
Fears, but this is unbelievably critical. Today is October 30th, 2024. We're 6 days away from the presidential election, and everybody is polarized looking this way at the presidential election. There's something happening underneath the scenes that most Americans are not paying attention to and is going to affect them like they've never seen before. What I'm about to present to you is my facts, figures, numbers, logic, my own research. You got to do your own research. And I'm only going to ever tell you what I'm doing myself for my family. You need to decide what works best for you. But I'm here to tell you that everything that you were taught about money in the indoctrination system is completely wrong. This may have worked for your grandparents and it may have worked for your parents, but it is not going to work for you. The middle class is getting wiped out, leveraged towards technology, moving down to the working poor. There is going to be no middle class. And I'll explain to you the facts, figures, numbers, logic. It could be a very bumpy road for a lot of people over the next 10 years, or it can be a radical transformation in your family's wealth timeline. But number one is you need to be dedicated to understanding financial literacy. Number two is you need to get disciplined in your finances. And number three, you got to learn how to take that newfound wealth or from the discipline for your finances, that increase in income, and learn how to invest and take sovereignty of your wealth. And number five is you need to learn how to protect your money at all costs. And here's why. Since 2020, pull up the CPI calculator. If you made $100,000 in 2020, you now need to make, I don't care what this administration says, you now need to make $122,000 to live the same life. They can package it whatever way they want. And here's the problem, is we're all waiting for interest rates to drop. All these real estate agents are waiting feverishly. And guess what? The biggest asset manager in the world, Larry Fink, says they're probably not going to lower them as much as you think. This inflation could be sticky. This could be your new economy, and it could even go up even more. Here's why. And I'm going to show you a silver lining at the end. Don't worry, because they are now turning the money printing machine back on. M2 money supply is going up. They're probably going to lower interest rates just a little bit in the next meeting, which is 6 days from now. And what's going to happen is this inflation is going to be sticky. We're going to go into wartime economics. We could go into hyperinflation, and it's going to make it extremely difficult for the middle class to even survive. But there's this weird moment right now that if you're paying attention and you're not distracted by all this bullshit that they're distracting you, got the drunk in the Coliseum, drunk off the wine, and the Trojan horses come in. They're giving you hints. That's why BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world in 2017, told you cryptocurrency is a fraud. It's used for money laundering. And in 2023, boom, he switched his tone. We're going and creating our own Bitcoin ETF, and now calls it a flight to quality. You can look right on their website. They call it a flight to quality. And the reason why they call it a flight to quality, and the reason why cryptocurrency is going to be the new millionaires, billionaires, and some trillionaires, is because the US dollar has 3% of its purchasing power left. The US now has more debt than it has income. We've never been in this position. We're on the verge of World War III. And the system is old. It's that simple. So here's what's going to happen. Is there going to be a massive transition to full tokenization. We're going to go from an old archaic banking system to a new banking system, which the infrastructure is going to be blockchain technology. Bitcoin is going to be a store of value like gold. Most countries are going to use Bitcoin to shrink their balance sheets to get them back in balance. They're going to hold Bitcoin, just like I'm going to hold Bitcoin, just like gold, because 94% of the supply is gone, 6% is left, and it's only mined for 116 years, and it gets more valuable every 4 years with the Bitcoin halving. And if you do your research, you can invest in the new infrastructure. And I'll share with you some things I'm invested in. Bitcoin is a store of value. XRP is a payment rail. XRP is one of the only tokens in Bitcoin with regulatory clarity. You got XLM, which is a payment rail. You got VeChain, which is supply chain management. You got HBAR, which is decentralized applications. You have Gala Gaming. Some of these gaming things are going to be massive. You got Engine. These are just a few to give you an example of how the normal everyday person can get a piece of the new infrastructure. Imagine sitting there during the dot-com boom and you're like, these internet people, interesting. Everybody's like, no, we're never going to use email. We're never going to use the internet. And you invested early, but you had a game plan. When you profited, you got some profit off the table. So what I do was when I profit, and I profited heavily from 2020 to 2022, is I pulled it off the risk pyramid and I brought it down. I insure my money. I use cash value life insurance. So I index and I insure about 30% of my income as it comes off the top. So on one side, I have high risk. I pull from high risk. I pull it down into low risk, and I work to compound my money. I use businesses. Business is the greatest way to wealth. I have companies in information technology, attention, education, precious metals, a little bit of silver, and I use Bitcoin as my gold. Now we're going into real estate. So I know you want to swipe and watch all these videos and be distracted by all this stuff. Go vote, go do your thing, and then get to fucking work in studying this. Block everything out and study the Federal Reserve. Read the book Creature of Jekyll Island. Read Cash Flow Quadrant. Read Richest Man in Babylon. Study what these technologies are. Understand how to get in, how to get out, and learn how to diversify. And it could be an opportunity for you to free your family financially. But I'm telling you, this shit, inflation, is here to stay. And if it's not, it's going to be temporary. You're going to be on one side of the coin, the working poor or the very, very wealthy. The choice is yours. Now, to be very clear, wealth is here and wealth is here, and money is just a frequency. So raise your frequency, raise your financial literacy, get out of the indoctrination system, and learn how to rise. Warriors!
I agree, guys. I agree. Smart dude. Smart dude. Let's go back over to the Bitcoin chart. All right, let's get into the chat, see what everybody's talking about here, guys. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe to the channel. WF Capital in the house. What's up, broski? Good to see you, man. Danny, yay, I'm here on time. No push-ups today. You might want to do some push-ups anyway, just for practice, brother. Brian, what's up, man? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Joshua, what's up, buddy? Mary, hello, hello. How are you? Micro Dip. The Rob Father, what's up? Let's go in the near future. Absolutely, man. Elvis, how much you think JASMY can go? Elvis, I told you yesterday, I think, or the day before, watch my JASMY price prediction video, my friend. I literally did it like 2 days ago. Funky, you pick the time as Trump taking the stage in a dump truck. Oh, yeah, that's right. He showed up in a garbage truck. Apologies for the spelling. No worries, brother. I got you, man. I got you. Big Kev in the house. What's up, buddy? Funky, howdy. Trump done, back to finances. Brian, what's up, buddy? Calling it now, 320K Bitcoin by 2026. Brian, I hope you're right, brother, but 2026 is going to be a bear market, my friend. JM says 320 is a little high in my opinion. I think 200 best case. I tend to agree with you, JM. I think that we get to 150 to 200K, probably 200K on a wick. Probably won't be much liquidity up there, but I do tend to agree with that sentiment. William, my main man, what's up, buddy? Brian, here's my opinion on how it gets to 320. More mining, more countries putting it as a reserve, companies adopting it, and ETFs growing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all those things definitely would contribute, my friend. Definitely would contribute, not to mention retirement allocation. Yes, pension funds are picking up spot Bitcoin ETFs. You are correct. Lord of the Realm in the house. What's up, buddy? Wise Mind, XRP to the moon. BTC is the safest. I told somebody the same. Yes. I told him also if he doesn't want to get directly into Bitcoin, to maybe get into companies like MicroStrategy that are putting it on their balance sheets, right? Rodney, what's up, buddy? Let's get this market start to move. Yes, absolutely, man. RJ 2010 in the house. Bruno, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Facts. Dude said Gala and Engine. Shake my head. Who said Gala and Engine? Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Older projects. The dollar is in major trouble. It has lost over 50% of its purchasing power in my generation. Yes. And that's just it. That's literally what I said to my buddy at work the other day. I said, you don't want to keep your money in a bank account because you're losing, you're gaining what, 3%, annually, but you're losing like 11% annually. So you're really actually losing 8% annually on your purchasing power, right? It doesn't make sense. Les, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Just finished your morning walk. Very nice, man. Very nice. RMG, what's up, man? Waiting for the cue to put on the moon suit. It's coming, brother. It is coming. All right. So, guys, we're all caught up in the news. I got to get to the gym. Another late night workout. Brian says I can smell a nice trade coming with Turbo. Looks juicy. Yes, I agree, man. I agree. Turbo's a good swing trade right now. It's under a penny. Wouldn't be a bad pickup, and maybe cash out after a little run. I would agree with that. It is an opportunity. Yeah. All right, guys. So I will see you guys for tomorrow morning's live stream. And make sure you get your butts over to the Patreon, guys, because we're going to be doing another group video coaching call over there. Book your one-on-one coaching calls with me as well. If you want to chat, guys, if you need help with crypto, you need help with your self-custody, your cold storage, compounding your profits, creating exit strategies, structuring your portfolio, anything that you need help with, tax information, whatever it is, guys, get over to the Patreon and book a one-on-one coaching call with me. We'll get you all set up. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.